What sort of thoughts go through your head right before you purchase a product? What's the final straw that makes you pull the trigger?
What goes through my head when I'm purchasing a product depends on what I'm purchasing. It to that's the first and foremost thing. So if I'm looking for something, I don't know, it just depends. Like if I don't know, what is something that I purchased?
Let's
I,
say, let's say it's something that you use daily, like something you buy from Walmart or Target.
if For me, what I always look at, okay, so let's say I'm buying a new TV, and
Okay.
the first thing for me is I don't need like state of the art. I need something where I can watch the news. I can, because I'm not a big TV watcher, but I do watch TV occasionally, and I do have family members that love to watch TV. So I have to think, okay, something that can meet all of our needs. It doesn't have to be state of the art, like the cream of the crop, but as long as it serves a purpose. I usually look at the price tag because I don't want to break the bank. I look at things like, can I get it up and down the stairs of our apartment building? Can it fit through my front door? Do I know how to operate it? Because technology is changing every single day. So I'm like more of a practical person when I come to buying a product, but I'm not afraid to indulge either. So I guess you can say I'm practical, but I like quality. I don't want something that's going to break down on me the moment I bring it through my front door. I want quality versus quantity, and it has to be within my budget. I'm not afraid to go over if it doesn't break the bank. And that's what pulls the trigger for me to purchase something.
Okay, good balance between price and if price and quality, and if this product will like not be obsolete in the future, something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you can't be cheap. I mean, if you pay for what you get. So I set myself a budget, and I find things within my budget. And it's if I find something that's nicer, but it's a little bit over, and I won't be like I won't be broke or paying it off for a year. I don't do, and I pay for it like right then and there. So if I can do that, I'll purchase it. But it has to be quality because I don't like things that are not quality. I have to have some sort of quality to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we talked about TV. What about if it's something like a service? Let's say a a plumber. What's the first? What are the things you look at?
Plumber. Oh, if I want to hire a plumber,
Mm.
what would I look at if I wanted to hire a plumber? The first thing that I'm going to go for, honestly, is I do look up the organization. Like I'll go to their website and I'll read the comments. I try not to read too many of them because I know every comment is a bias. Unless like every comment is like they just were not good at all. I'll read that, but then I'll make my final decision when I'm actually talking to them in person or I'm talking to them over the phone. Because I'll have a list of my own questions, like what is their price range? Are they able to fix whatever it is I need them to fix? And I'll ask them like, hey, I noticed that you got mixed reviews. Some say you're good at that. As long as they're able to explain themselves and represent their company and say they can do the job, and then I'll hire a person based off that. But there whether or not I hire them again depends on the finished product. So I hire them to fix my toilet, and they go in there and they fix it and they say they're done, and I go and use it and it's not working, but yet they talked about themselves as if they were the best plumbing corporation, plumbing business on the face of this earth. I won't hire them again, because obviously the material wasn't fixed, or the thing wasn't fixed, and you know, they weren't as good as they proclaimed themselves to be.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about books? Like books for self-improvement?
When it comes to books on self-improvement, oh man, I usually don't read books on self-improvement. I usually get self-improvement on I am a very open person, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very open person, and I find that if you listen very carefully to the people around you, they will tell you about yourself, whether or not they like you, whether or not they are happy with the job that you do, or your interpersonal skills, or whatever. I kind of find that that's the case. And so what will happen is I'll draw from that. Like, for example, if I'm just sitting there and I hear someone say, oh my goodness, I don't like the way Joann did X, Y, and Z on this report, I will obviously listen, I'll hear that. But what I'll do is I will ask another individual, hey, can you go over this report and see, like, what do you think about it? And then from there, they'll give me their feedback, tell me, oh, you can change this, or, make this a little bit stronger. As far as like self-help books, I don't really engage in that, because a self-help book, they can only tell you from their perspective, and they're not around you, versus someone who's around you. And whether people believe it or not, I'm a firm believer in this. You'll always know what a person feels about you, because it always comes out however it does. So I limit myself to self-help books. People tend to help me without even knowing they help me about, the way I am as a person.
Okay. But let's say if Tony Robbins, someone like Tony Robbins, which is like a great self-improvement guru, offered to work like one-on-one with you with a reasonable price, would you take that opportunity?
If he offered me if he offered to work with me one-on-one, is that what you're
Yeah.
asking? Okay,
Yeah, because it
so
talked about perspectives and how people like books they only give, they generalize the problem and how to self-improve, instead of like with friends, it's like targeted towards you because they understand you. If
so if he were to offer me his book, I would probably say no, because more than likely it would just sit on a shelf and I wouldn't read it. If he was willing to work with me one-on-one, we would have to have some sort of dialogue prior to that. Like, I don't believe going and sitting in someone's office and they have no prior knowledge of me. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable. Actually, it's not even about comfortability. It's more about, okay, what do you know about me and how do you want to help me? But you don't know me, so why? I mean, how can you help me? So the only way that I would do a one-on-one of that nature is if we had some sort of prior conversation more than just one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because to me, if I'm going to go sit in someone's office, whether they're, no matter what type of guru they are, really, when they talk to me and they have no prior knowledge of me, they're basically basing their ideas off of the information they put in their book, which is 9 times out of 10 about themselves or the things that they've experienced around them. It's really not about it's a broad, it's like a broad, it's not tailored versus like if I had a therapist and my therapist is like, I want to have a one-on-one with you, then I would most likely sit with a therapist because we have a relationship versus a guru who is like, let me just share this with you. I know me, I wouldn't be open to it as much.
All right. Okay. So you put understanding you as a person, like the contextual things, you believe them as more important um, than anything else, like
Yes.
generalizing problems, and because without the contextual, you don't believe they can help, which is true
Yeah,
most of
and
the time.
they could help in a broad sense. Like if your company wants to bring in a guru to, share ideas and, give a personal statement of their past experiences, then oh my gosh, do that. Absolutely, because then you're bringing it in as a broad term. So then if that were the case, I would be taking notes like, okay, how can I apply this person's ideas and uh, how can I apply this person's ideas to my life? Do you
Mm,
see, like it's different. It's more of the only way that I can explain it is like if you have a class and you're teaching something to the class. You're giving an overall whatever, like you're giving an overall view or strategies to help that overall group. But let's say someone in the class is struggling and you've been watching them, like let's say it's math, and you've seen them test after test, day after day, maybe weeks on out, struggling in a specific area, then that's when me as the teacher and me knowing that student would take them and say, okay, let's have a one-on-one and see where the areas you're struggling, why you're struggling and what areas you're struggling in. Because you have that, not only that broad relationship, but you also have that one-on-one relationship. So if the guru was like my boss or something, and he knew me and my fellow employees as a group, and then he was monitoring my work like for X amount of days or weeks and said, oh, well, Joann's struggling here, here, and here, and I need to have a one-on-one with her, then of course I would be willing to sit down and then take that feedback as to what, what needs, what can help me improve. But an actual guru sitting with me and having no prior knowledge of me is kind of like, it's hard. I would see that person sharing information and I would just take like general things, but nothing that would, like, I don't know, I can't explain it. Like to me, it's different. To me, it's just like someone giving ideas, someone giving methods and strategies, but I would sit and take notes. I wouldn't sit there and have a conversation with that person. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think I do. It's like at certain times, like and then in a one-on-one, for example, you like to understand the constitutional stuff, right? And then on a general level, like when you're talking to a group, they are understanding the macro version of the things. And
Yeah.
you're saying that you can learn from both of them, but if you were to have someone that you want to work in a constitutional way, you don't want that person to understand you in a macro way.
I guess maybe that's how it sounds. I guess, okay, so if they want to, well, no. If they want to reach me in a constitutional way, then they would have to know about me first in a micro way. Does that make sense?
In a macro way, yeah.
So, in other words, if they were to do both, that means that they have prior knowledge of who I am as an individual. And so when they're presenting the information, if they wanted to do a one-on-one on me or one-on-one with me, they would have prior knowledge of whatever information they gathered. And then the information that we discuss would be tailored to the problem areas and then the solution areas. Does that make sense? But
So
if
building
you
his content based on context.
yes.
Okay.
Because when you like say it was just strictly on a constitutional level, which I'm not really familiar with that term. So when you say constitutional, you're saying a big group, correct?
Let's use the word macro and micro, like on a small scale and on a general scale.
So on a big scale, if that person was wanting to talk to me, okay, well, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. Okay. If a person wanted to talk to me on a smaller scale,
Okay.
but had no prior knowledge of my work history or because when I think one-on-one, I think, okay, they're pulling me aside. Okay, this is how I work with a group of people. They want to have a smaller conversation, so they pull me aside. A person who wants to have a one-on-one with no understanding of who I am in a bigger setting, I think their information about me and the information they give me would be distorted. What information can they draw upon to give me that one-on-one meeting or that one-on-one? What information can they bring to that one-on-one meeting that would be beneficial for me to succeed? I don't believe you can have that because you have to know a person at a larger level. You have to know what I am. You have to know what I'm like in a group. You have to know what I'm like in a group doing my individual work. You have to know what I'm like in a group working with all the team members. You have to know what I'm like working in a group with the team members and with my leaders in order to draw a proper conclusion to sit with me one-on-one and provide advice. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because if you don't have that context, then really you're just spouting out information that you're not helping that person be successful. You're not giving any evidence as to why you're having that conversation. You're not giving any evidence as to why that individual would need to improve. You're not giving any evidence as what that person is doing great within the environment. You know what I mean? It's so important to have those different aspects because not only is it beneficial to the person that you're having that one-on-one with, but it elevates your work. It takes your work to a whole different realm. It opens up your eyes because now it's almost like you put all the puzzle pieces from different stages of that individual together in their different environments, and you were able to take your content and their content and create this complete the puzzle piece. And it's kind of like the DNA of content. You know, you need those elements, those micro, macro elements, or whatever you want to call it. You need those different levels to get accurate, somewhat accurate, very accurate content, especially if you're wanting to sit one-on-one with someone.
Yeah, I got your thing. It's kind of like you need to build your content based on the context, or else your words will not resonate with the problem as much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then it's like the difference between having braces and having a retainer. You know, like having braces like individual metal studs on your teeth, and that way you adjust your teeth individually instead of like having a retainer, something that covers the whole what do you call it? Like the whole upper part of your teeth instead of treating it one by one, something like that.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. The retainer or the braces, however you want to look at it, is tailored to that individual's teeth. So the doctor or the dentist, before they put the braces or the retainer in, they have to go inside your mouth. They have to find out how many teeth you got going there. They have to find out the space needed, the measurements, and so on and so forth. That's kind of like building content, especially if you're trying to direct your content toward a specific audience or a specific individual or a group or a corporation or organization. It has to be tailored. You have to get in there. You have to find out who you're addressing. You have to find out who they're about, and that will expand your content to a whole nother level. And not only will they learn, but you'll learn so much because it's the DNA of content.
Yeah, exactly. That's the most eloquent way I've came across explaining this thing.